Welcome to this Perceptive Readers Podcast. Hi, I'm James Lynch. The sunflowers will blossom. For 4 years of your life on this grounded earth, you have been seeds. By entering through these classroom doors, sprinkles of knowledge on your mind will teach more than how to activate mathematical concepts and to read. At your age, we will learn about the animals, lions, tigers, and bears. But as your teacher, I have an important responsibility to tell you about flowers too. Sunflowers are my favorite. They are so applicable to you. Don't mind the word applicable. Again, you will also learn that meaning too. Your petals will be everything you recite in this poem. The color yellow in all its forms. The budding sunflowers are happy and wise. They get all their energy from the sun up in the sky. Are you looking forward to this school's year adventure around 170 days? Don't you worry at all, for they will consist of work, rest, and play. In your balance of everything you are about to learn and do, your personality will blossom like the sunflower too. May all your dreams come true.
God is love, just and fair. Part 4. Wyatt Earp. I gave a short introduction in part 3 of this series about Wyatt Earp. Now, Wyatt Earp, this is the fictional history part of what I said we were going to talk about, but it does have significant meaning, and there's been environments, there's been situations along these lines, just not as what you may consider extreme in most persons' lives, but it still doesn't mean that, depending on your occupation, you've been able to still see it for what it was as well. There was one episode where what had happened is there was a heavy-handed decree that was handed out by a governor, and because they were tired of what they call bushwhackers, persons you see robbing stage coaches or just sitting back and actually, when people going by, they were shooting at them, robbing them or killing them or whatever. And so the governor was tired of it, and he just said, now, you don't even have to arrest those persons. If they're doing it, then you just shoot to kill. That's exactly what he did. And in this episode, Wyatt Earp, he didn't agree with it at all. He said you shouldn't do that. Now, we already mentioned how Wyatt Earp, remember, he was one who was known to just do what was necessary as for justice. You see, no more, no less. He was known to be balanced with what he was going to do for justice. He did his best. And that's the way the series portrayed him as well. Now, with that being said, here it is. They went out with what would have normally been called a posse. Now they actually were given another name known as vigilantes. So the governor was approving of vigilantes, and these were known as people who would take justice into their own hands anyway. So all he was just saying was, Wyatt Earp, you just go ahead and work with them. One, basically, you got your already made posses if you just get those vigilantes together with you, you see. So here it is. They went out to some bushwhackers, and yes, they took them out. They took them out, you see, so, killed them. Now, what happened is, after that event, Wyatt Earp already wasn't feeling good about it or what, the vigilantes did. You see, even when they were running away, it's like they shot him in the back, you see. So what happened is a fiance, you see, which nobody knew about, came to Wyatt Earp to tell him that her fiance who was killed was not a criminal. See, he was actually just new to the area anyway, and he was just trying to make some money. So, he didn't know who the riffraff was. He didn't know who the bad persons were. He was just going from one location to the next just to, I guess, I know to make enough money, which wasn't supposed to involve stealing or anything of that nature. You see, but again, you don't always know who the crooks are now, do you? You don't know who the con people are, do you? So it was that situation. He was in that area to get married and take his fiance back, what would then be his wife, with them to another state and have enough money to do that. And so she gave all that information to Wyatt, and he didn't know that. Wyatt did notice that the way it was looking, that the guy really wasn't even trying to even be caught in the middle of all that gunfire in the first place. You see, you can kind of see that in the beginning of the episode when all this happened. Well, anyway, the more the woman talked, the more she started losing her mind, thinking about the whole situation. And the way she started stating things about how, Wyatt, you're not justice, you're just a murderer. You see, she started saying all sorts of stuff like that because she was starting, in her grief, she started losing her mind. See, this type of stuff really does happen. She just started losing her mind. She was overwhelmed with emotional grief. And the way it was portrayed, it was on such a level where she lost her mind. She lost her mind. And when she was losing her mind, the last thoughts that would be on her mind of what she was thinking about, guess what? The subconscious can kick in. And guess what else? The evil spirit realm can kick in as well. But we're not going to go too deep on that. All the same, what she did was she ran out of the sheriff's office. Wyatt tried to chase it down, but then it was a man walking past him and he bumped into him, and Wyatt just apologized. He just let her go away. But what she did was she ran and she got a gun, and then she tried to kill Doc Holliday because he was part of the posse, but she couldn't do it. She shot at him one time and then ran out the office. Then she shot at another one of the deputies, you see, and grazed his head. She was, oh man, she was something else. It's not funny, but the whole point is, when they caught up with her, because she was going to actually shoot at another person of the posse, and they were able to catch up. Wyatt caught up with her and got the gun just when she was about to fire it. What she did in the fire, but she missed it because Wyatt Earp was able to, grab the gun. Now, what happened is a doctor looked at her and was telling Wyatt Earp what the diagnosis was about, temporary insanity or what have you. And so what the concern was, they already knew her crime was, shooting at peace officers. That was just unacceptable. And that was going to be, they were saying they knew a minimum of 10 years in jail. And that just didn't sit right with Wyatt Earp. And what he was telling, some of the members in his posses is that, one, that law for us just to shoot to kill shouldn't have been enacted in the first place, because they kept on saying what the governor said, and what Wyatt Earp, after he related the information that she had related to him, he was already just saying, well, basically we killed an innocent man. Basically was saying justice was not justice in this case. Justice killed an innocent man. Now, that's me stating it from paraphrasing what they were showing, what they were saying, in this case. You see, because for this storyline, yeah, he really was innocent. He wasn't a criminal. He wasn't trying to do anything criminal or what have you. But see, as Wyatt Earp was bringing out, that type of heavy-handed decree should have never been handed out in the first place. And it shouldn't have, just put power like that even in vigilantes' hands. See, there were already too many. See, I'm giving you extra information. There were, and they had already shown this throughout the series, that there was already too many other decrees and methods that could have been used that still would have got the same job done. One, you see, instead of just officially saying, well, we just go on with the vigilantes, no. Part of the whole posse making process is anybody that the sheriff would have gotten or what have you, they normally really would have been deputized. And the thing about it is, it wouldn't have just been persons who already said back in the day, never mind. I'm giving it right my own story. Never mind. Where the whole point is, there's other decrees where just like even Wyatt Earp was saying, really put out official warrants. Let's not just, once again, find people doing this or that crime, like being bushwhackers on the street or whatever, and then just start shooting and killing them and things of that nature. So that's one of the things that he did say about, in court. Well, the judge who Wyatt Earp had already worked well with and had a good understanding with, had said, and this is what a lot of people know, they were so stuck on, you can't let a person get away with this. Actually, trying to kill, peace officers, trying to, even shoot at these, persons. And that's just how, that's a whole podcast altogether. But the whole point is, you could tell the way that they acted in this. You realize the seriousness of, there are just some laws and some crimes that it's almost like, no, you just can't. You just can't get away with it. The public just wouldn't understand it or what have you. That's really the look, and the feeling all matters. So that's a very strong argument to overcome, isn't it? Now you want to see why I still wanted to mention this episode to you. Because what happened is the judge went on ahead, because all this was coming out in court, what had happened, and even the doctor was talking about how this woman had temporary insanity, and still the judge even still mentioned, well, the last thoughts on her mind still would have been malice and this and that. So what happened is this. This was the sentence. Well, let me tell you what Wyatt Earp said in defense of this woman. And the way that he said it, I was like, see, that's still what justice is. What do I mean by that? I mean by, in the world today, where sad to say, perception is what really matters. Perception is king. Perception If the BS got it, we got to go with the BS. In a world that has turned like that, notice what Wyatt Earp talked about when it came to justice. He basically made the point, and he brought out again about that heavy-handed decree from that governor. He made the point basically that justice wasn't justice when they took that innocent man's life. And then he was just saying again that even though what his fiance did wasn't right, it was already really their mishandling of justice. Remember, this woman even called, in this case, the representatives of justice murderers because they took out an innocent man. And what Wyatt Earp was saying, so still, why compound the problem by being underhanded when the mitigating circumstances were so extreme that guess what? He didn't say a word, but there were mitigating circumstances and there was still something for mercy to be there. So what happened is the judge came back from his deliberation, and he still first found her, guilty of a sentence of at least 6 months in jail. But then he said, and it was based on the testimony of, again, Justice Wyatt Earp, because he really proved his point, that the sentence was suspended. You see, the sentence was suspended. So this is what I want you to think about, perceptive readers. This series was God is love, just, and fair. You can even see other accounts that if I do a part 5 on this, I'll mention 1 or 2 of them. But see, this is what I want to share with you. See, to me, I almost said I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I don't believe perception and BS is more important than to do the right thing, to be just, to be fair, all because you can have other persons who don't fully know the situation, then persons got to suffer. And see, that's one of the things that Wyatt Earp had ran into, because Doc Holliday was saying, boy, nobody likes you for this, or you're not winning any favors for this. And Wyatt Earp didn't care. He didn't care. And in this case, I'm here to tell you right now today, was that sentence and everything correct according to my reasoning and thinking? Wyatt Earp. He respected law. He was a lawman. And yet, guess what? He knew when to say when. Now, those vigilantes, some of them, they wouldn't have now, would they? We talked about the difference between God and his justice, and we talked about his arch enemy and his lack of justice, his travesties of justice, his injustice, his not knowing when to say when. In this case, Wyatt Earp's, this writing, his understanding of mitigating circumstances, how justice and mercy, you see, is supposed to work together. He made his argument very clear. And it took a godly understanding even of the judge to commute that sentence the way that he did. Have a wonderful day, perceptive readers.
You have just listened to the Perceptive Readers Podcast. Remember, until next time, if you read something that encourages you to improve or enhance your life for the better, it becomes your reality.